Hey guys, this is probably not. So I originally wasn't going to make this video, or at least not now. I had another video idea totally planned out, but then I lost the motivation and the time to do it. You see, usually when I do a video with like gameplay and all that kind of stuff, there are a few more tedious steps involved. I have to, cut out the time to actually play the games and record them. Then I have to go through potentially hours of gameplay to sort out the necessary parts before I can do any actual fun editing, and it's just, it's not a good time. Oh, side note, in other news, this guy just became a real scratcher in your face. God, I've been waiting so long. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So I opted for the easy way out, which will be probably a playlist of videos complaining about the state of Scratch. So think of this as basically a part 2 to my last video, which was partially complaining, but this one is going to seem less optimistic. Now, I want to be completely clear when I say that when I do commentary videos like this, I'm placing no blame into the hands of any particular person or the Scratch team for the trending page being bad. Not because I don't think they can do anything about it, but because it's not going to help the situation to just hate on them for it. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about a little more, the state of the trending page. And at the time of me writing the script for this video, the trending page is, for lack of a better word, insane. Like, I feel like I'm saying it every few months, but I've never seen the trending page as cluttered and disorganized as it is now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Eric Andre Show!
Usually there are 2 to 3 projects that everyone is ripping on because they were clearly hacked to the front page. Then there are the ones where the comments are about 90% advertising. Now, I will confess that I don't look at all these projects beforehand, so there is plenty of judging a book by its cover here, and this video should still be taken with a huge grain of salt, but let's be honest, more times than not, you can expect the same level of insanity from the project as in the thumbnails.
I like my cheese drippy, bruh. I like my cheese drippy, bruh.
It quite literally feels like people are just fighting for the top of the trending page. Like, literally 3 times a day, I'll check it and see that half of the projects there are completely different than they were before, were shared yesterday, and they have like 10 million views. People are basically just shoving each other around for views. It's absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, everyone feels like they have to do that now, so they're on an even playing field and have a chance. But unfortunately, it's not really working out that way. So for some people to be doing this, there are a few loopholes that have become pretty well known for you to put yourself above everyone, and we're going to go over those now. So the most common one is to be using an old project or a project with an old project ID, which allows it to be very quickly indexed. Look that up if you don't know what I mean by that. And basically that just means that it's much more likely to get to trending. And then people ask them how they got to the trending page, and they're just like,
a lot of dedication and care.
and it's like, really? Come on. I'm not saying that that's not true for some of these projects, but you know damn well you wouldn't be up there if you didn't use the project ID trick. If you don't know about it already, you might be asking why I'm giving this away, and it's because I think it's only fair that everyone knows about it rather than just a select group of people, even if it unfortunately means that more generic projects might show on the trending page. Even if it's a good project, I don't think that it necessarily justifies you doing it and no one else. It's kind of like if someone cut you in line for a movie theater because they bought a more expensive ticket than you. Cutting in line is equally unfair regardless of your perceived value. Well, unless they're VIP, but that's obviously not a thing in the context of Scratch. Anyways, I have no idea where I was going with that. I probably will contradict myself, but I guess my logic with that was when everyone's trending, no one will be. But even then, that's assuming that everyone has an old enough project in their stuff to be able to do this anyway, so that's where there's still kind of a problem. At this point, it kind of just feels like the only joy or resolve that any kids get from having a trending project is just seeing a big number on their project page, and in their defense, I have nothing against them for it. I can't tell you, when I was popping off on Scratch, the number of times I would just sit there on the page from a trending project, constantly refreshing the page to watch the view count climb. It's quite an interesting feeling, that's pretty easy to get lost in. But like, for the most part, my games were well received. People actually had nice things to say about them and feedback in general to give me that encouraged me to go on. But like, with basic projects that were clearly hacked to the trending page, that's not the case. No one is saying nice things. And a lot of these people know that because they'll shut off the comments, which, you know, obviously people could be saying nicer, more helpful things at any time, but since they aren't, I don't really see what you're getting out of this. It just feels like there's this growing epidemic of newcomers where their only aspiration is to make it to trending, not to learn how to code and create. So essentially the only thing that really matters to them is this thing right here. It does not matter that you created Spring, an iCube platformer part 37, and everybody hates you for it, and no one has anything good to say, and all the other comments are just advertising. It doesn't matter. We have a big number over here, which means something. And I guess my question is just like, what on earth is the point then? You know, I mean, obviously to get views is the point, but like, then what? Do you have a plan? Are you gonna do something else with your newfound views now that you've had time to hash together every same basic idea without having learned much? I know that getting popular is useful because once you do, you can use your audience to promote and show off other facets of your creativity, hence why so many Scratchers move to YouTube once they've kind of run their course on Scratch, because we can essentially now make whatever we want without the firm restrictions of Scratch. But I don't know, I just don't know where you're supposed to get an audience from if nobody really likes your Scratch content.
Then check this out.
Most people are not enjoying these games. You can see it in the love to view ratios. And like, if you're making beginner projects, that's literally fine, but all the hate could be so easily avoided if you just let the people who are naturally drawn to your project find it, rather than hacking your way to trending where a bunch of people who didn't want to see your game are now having it force-fed down their throats. Trending. Currently popular or widely discussed online. But you weren't. You weren't popular, you simply forced yourself to be popular, and understandably, people don't appreciate that. Anyway, from what I understand, the Project ID thing isn't the only hack that people use to trick the Scratch algorithm. Apparently, there's also this thing where you can periodically reshare already shared projects to make Scratch think that you got a lot of loves in a short amount of time, but I don't know the details for that one. And a lot of times, it's not even really hacks, it's just like these weird clickbaity methods that are either made to play on the short attention span of little kids or to pique the confusion of slightly older Scratchers like me. Like, this is legitimately me asking, but why are the Japanese thumbnails so overly stylized? Like, that's not just me. Like, it's not like that for all of them, and some of them actually look pretty awesome, but most of the ones on trending are always so stuffed with words and icons and just madness that I don't even know what's going on. I'm guessing the tactic here is just to make it so jumbled and insane that you just have to click on it to see what this is supposed to be, but like, I don't even know if anyone's brain has enough time to process what they're seeing to decide if they want to click on it or not, at least not the average little kid. Then I thought, oh, okay, well maybe it just looks jumbled and weird to me because it's in Japanese and the characters are much more complex, but then I put them through Translate and they don't make any more sense to me than they did before, so I just kind of gave up trying to figure that one out. Now, originally this would be where my complaints with these types of projects end. However, something a bit more sinister was uncovered. Now, for the longest of time, I had always wondered why there was like a sudden influx of Japanese users on Scratch. I mean, I was confused by it, but I initially thought that, I don't know, maybe for some reason in the year like 2021, the Japanese education system suddenly decided to start introducing or pushing out Scratch to the youth on its own. That's great, you know, and I can't really prove exactly the reason for it, so. But I still wondered like how these super random looking Japanese projects shared by accounts I've never heard of in only a handful of hours with a handful of views made it all the way to the top of trending. And from what it looks like, they're doing something behind the scenes. I mean, as far as the discovery of this, I'm gonna credit this to Good Names Are Gone, who, like me, as well as others, was surprised to see yet another project shared by some random Japanese-based Scratcher on the same day with a couple hundred views, first on trending. So basically we did a little bit of searching and we were able to uncover multiple threads of comments from these guys who I will not name, even though I really don't care. So we'll see if I decide to do it in post, but after more digging, along with a few other friends, it was just sketchy comment after sketchy comment by a handful of users. Now, surely this isn't the case with every Japanese Scratcher, so no generalizations please, but like, there's clearly a group of these guys who are in on whatever they're doing. Like, we found and translated comments about proxies and view explosions and creating loopholes to get around the Scratch team, and I couldn't believe it. So what I've gathered is that somehow they're messing around with the view count of projects using proxies, which I guess is not currently safeguarded by the Scratch team, so it actually works in pushing them to get on trending. And again, I cannot stress enough that I'm not making a generalization about Japanese Scratchers. I'm sure there are plenty of perfectly honest, normal Japanese Scratchers who don't know about this, but like, clearly a lot of these guys are in on whatever this hack is. And now I can actually say the word hack confidently. But guys, I cannot stress to you enough how deep this goes. It's not just views that they're finding a way to hack. They're doing it with followers too. This person has a bunch of follows from totally new blank accounts, which will then also be used to love and favorite their projects. It's kind of gross, if I'm being honest. Like, this is not what Scratch is about, if you didn't know that already. And as for this person, it's pretty impressive that they have the technical expertise to do all of this, but like, really? This is what you're deciding to use it for? Look, I'm hoping that someone who knows a little bit more about this than me will look into it, but I, for one, am going to write a very strongly worded email to the Scratch team to let them know what's going on and to look into it further, please, if they're not already. You know, honestly, I'm tempted to take back everything I said about the project ID thing, because I feel like I have no issues with it now. At first, I thought it was like, okay, well, I guess they're trying to fight fire with fire, but now it's more like trying to fight a hydrogen bomb with fire, and I use the analogy bomb because that's kind of how they describe it. But like, how on earth could any humble Scratcher hope to compete with all of that? Like, I mean, excuse my language, but they're cooked. They don't stand a chance.
Rotisserie chicken. Isn't that pretty?
Like, this is so gross. This is the type of sketchy activity that's literally ruining the trending page. This is who's messing up any honest Scratcher's chances at getting a well-done project possibly seen at all. This is why the trending page is moving around so much. And then they have the nerve to play dumb. And I guess what ticks me off about it is the deception involved, because when the Scratch team rightfully takes down their project, naive but well-meaning Scratchers will come to their consolation and be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I can't believe the Scratch team did that to you, and I can't believe how brave you are and how strong you are. And it's like, no, save your sympathy, they're trying to steal it from you. But like, I mean, like, you guys get why I'm mad about this, right? Like, imagine this. Imagine the trending page is a club, and let's be honest, at this point it pretty much is. But instead of a bouncer to check your bags, it's just a big brick wall, like a titanium wall. That's basically the chances that small Scratchers have of ever being seen, if they play fair and square. But yeah, no, most of the projects you see up there at the top are no accident, and I guess my most optimistic hope, although highly unlikely, is that perhaps Scratch's underwhelming approach to these issues is because they're working on moving to a new domain? Or maybe they got their little hands busy with Scratch 4.0? So we're just gonna leave this place behind and migrate there and sing Kumbaya and it'll all be good. Oh yeah, so in the description of this interesting users project, which Mughat found, they have this like warning or disclaimer to let us know about what's impending for Scratch in 2025, and it's just completely insane. Like, I personally am not taking any of that 100% serious, but I'm just gonna read it to you guys and you can let me know what you think. I'm gonna be honest, it kind of sounds like what would be in the opening crawl of a Star Wars movie, so we're gonna do it that way, but it'll be fun. Scratch will change a lot in 2025. Currently, a group called Scratch Elite is gaining power, and a user named Essa is particularly powerful among them. There are 4 other users who seem to be particularly influential. He actually attacked Griffpatch's follower list, developed a bomb tool, and banned several users. To be honest, I'm sure he is the most influential person on Scratch right now. No one knows what he'll do in the future, and in some cases it may affect the whole community. He also seems to have recently developed a tool for mass reporting abuse, so be careful if you're a trendy person. Basically, as long as you don't stand out too much or give them a bad impression, you'll be fine. But he's not a bad person, actually. What the heck? Is this real? Is this roleplay? I really don't know how seriously to take that. Who the heck is Essa? That sounds like ISIS, but for Scratch. I can't find them anywhere, but apparently there's some hidden dictator running hundreds of accounts who's done real damage to people's accounts.
You know who I am. You don't know where I You'll never see me coming.
I I don't know. I'm not an internet sleuth, so I'm really not trying to look into that too much. I just can't get over how freaking crazy all of this. If any of this is true, then maybe the mass reporting problem isn't a problem at all. And it's just some guy with tons of accounts reporting the same projects over and over to get them taken down. I don't know. If you're from the Scratch team and you're watching this, please look into all of this. It's just so messed up and insane. I miss when Scratch was just a simple place to make whatever you want and share it with people. Well, guys, I think that's about enough of watching an adult man whine about a kid's coding website. To be honest, you can make fun of me if you'd like. I know it sounds like I do this because I hate Scratch or hate Scratchers or something, but it's actually the complete opposite. I would like to think that I feel so strongly because I care. Like I said, from the ages of 12 to 18, Scratch was literally the centerpiece of my existence. So I guess I get a little bit angry when I see anything that even remotely looks like the decline of Scratch as a learning platform. But yeah, I'm gonna try to do a positive video after this, hopefully. So unless you guys like this, then I'll just keep complaining, but I doubt that. That's pretty much it. Get out of my face.